Alright, guys, hello and welcome to the fifth episode of the official All Rounder podcast. I'm your host, Sarosh Ahmed, and today I've got a special episode where I'm going to be featuring two very important people in my life, my two beloved sisters, Imama and Zaina Ahmed. So basically, I've wanted to ask them a lot of things, because there's a consistent age gap between us of from the eldest, I'm the eldest, and to the youngest, which is 10 years almost. So our lives have been quite different in many ways. So I wanted to discuss a lot of these things and growing up in 2020 and living our lives in as a millennial to Gen Z, which which is a big difference to go through those years. So first of all, I want to welcome you guys and ask you what do you think about podcasts and have you listened to any?
Thank you. Firstly, thank you for having us here. It's an honor. Secondly, I don't really listen to many podcasts. Usually it's just YouTube or whatever. But some podcasts I do listen to. It's just like funny comedy stuff. Yeah. And I have a liking for podcasts, actually. I actually wanted one of those big mics and just want to speak into a mic. It just sounds really good. So I'm excited to be here and excited to talk to you.
So Zaina, what's the biggest media that's influencing people of your age right now? Do you think what's the thing that people go to?
Instagram.
Instagram. What about because I've seen obviously TikTok. TikTok is a big influence on a lot of people.
Yeah.
Do you think that it's having a negative influence on people in general? And what's it having?
Yeah, you could use it for a lot of good things, but you could. Some people get bullied on there, so
Exactly.
it's not good for you. But it's good to go on if you're bored.
Yeah, you can. I mean, it depends. A lot of the social media, I believe it depends on the user, right? But let me start from the beginning then, I guess. I'll start from my childhood and we'll compare our childhoods, I guess, from the beginning. So I was born in Karachi while my dad Baba wasn't there. Baba was working. And I was born in Karachi in a very orthodox hospital, which is almost under served. It was one of those. It was the average hospital. It wasn't a good hospital. Not the best. So, and I was born in Karachi, but then I was moved. And you know how nowadays there's a lot of stigmas. People don't move children under the age of 9 months, and they don't make them fly on airplanes. I went on an airplane at least 4 times before I was 5 months old.
Mom and Dad were traveling the world with us.
Yeah, so they were going everywhere. So I came to Riyadh, spent 2 years there, went to Canada, spent 5-6 years there, and then Imam was born there, and then we came to Riyadh, and then Zana was born there. So already we can see all three of us are born in 3 different places, and that always has an impact, I guess. And the fourth, Mr. Nawfal, our thoughts are with him. He's my younger brother. He's stuck in Pakistan because that's where we sent him. When Corona started, we wanted to move him from Canada. We moved him to Pakistan, but now he's stuck there because currently we're in Riyadh, and in Riyadh everything is closed. The borders are closed, no travel. So he's stuck in Pakistan, and he's absolutely enjoying it. He's loving it. Just kidding. He's struggling because the culture is a huge difference. He's Canadian, and
especially in Pakistan, lack of electricity, water, whatever supplies, and there in Pakistan, our Wi-Fi. We live in our nanny's house, and the Wi-Fi isn't the fastest, so he's suffering.
Yeah.
But he's coping.
So yeah, and when I grew up in Canada when cartoons and toys were the rave. Because technology hadn't progressed so much that a kid had an iPhone in their hand. When I was 8, 10, I could never imagine that I would have a phone. When I was 5, I could never imagine that when I was 8 or 10, I could have a phone. When I was 5, 6, 4. Because the last memories I have of me being in Canada is I bought a big Beyblade ring. And I used to play Beyblade with my friends. I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh cards, Pokemon. I had friends playing snow boots, making snow castles. Now that was the thing. So that's my memory of school. how was your memories, Zana? Like that, and you're 10 years younger than me, so compare that to mine. What is your early childhood memories like? Were they similar?
I guess, but most of them have to do with school. Like when I was in like Foundation 1 and Foundation 2.
Oh yeah, that's a good point actually, and I've noticed that uh, because I've seen you grow up. I've seen the difference in our childhoods. Me especially, I was very outgoing. We have family friends still now, and the life in Saudi is very different to Canada. There it was all about playing outside. We used to go out and play baseball with Mama Baba. We used to go play baseball. We used to play go to the ice rinks, go to places to play stuff. When we came to Riyadh, obviously, especially now, we used to live in a compound 5 years ago. Now we moved to a house, and the life has changed to 180. When I moved to a compound, okay, so let's fast forward from when I was in Canada. I moved to Riyadh when I was 6, and Imama was tiny, Zana was born, and we were all kids. I was still an 8-year-old, and a compound is heaven for a kid. Badminton court, sand castle, tennis court, swimming pool.
The Pebble area.
Every day was a new adventure.
And there's a community to
Exactly.
have fun with and everything.
Exactly. I used to come from school, and I did not care about school at all. My dad, Baba, spent a whole summer just teaching me math so I could get into British school. Once I got in, I didn't know what studying was until I was in year 7 or 8. And then obviously they put me on the fast track with like 5 tutors. But before that, I was a full kid, which is the thing I believe that you guys didn't have.
No.
I think you guys were, because obviously you had an elder brother, you had elder people in the family. You guys didn't live that full free childhood that I did. That's what I feel.
We didn't go outdoors as much, especially me, because she used to play with you guys when like you guys used to go to like the tennis court and I would just be sitting on the bench or something. And if we didn't go outside, I would just be watching TV inside.
And you were little.
Or-
Just the fact that you were tiny.
Or we had like cartoons, or mom would buy me like markers and I'd just be inside all the time.
Exactly.
And the thing with me is like I still had some time spent outside with you guys. Like I was like a sporty girl, so I would go swimming. I remember sometimes you taught me swimming. I would follow you guys outside, play football, do basketball, whatever, or just like sit in the sports court and just like be outside, get some energy. But nowadays, now that we like moved away from the compound and are living in a villa in our own house, it's just indoors, and everything revolves around social media, around your school friends. Like the only time I remember having fun is like in school, because the only time you socialize with actual people in school. You can't do that anymore when you're outside in your house or go out. You can't go out anymore, basically. And the only thing we have is social media, and social media is like full of like negativity. It's all like someone's having beef with someone. Like
I feel that's the biggest trial for the young generation, I guess.
yeah.
That's what Baba says the whole time. He says it's the biggest trial for the young generation, and he's right. Because the only thing I had two things. I had cartoons, and I had playing outside and playing with my cousins. When we used to go to Pakistan, even then, no matter how hot it was 40 degrees. He struggled in there, my brother Nawfal struggled in there. But in that, me and my cousin used to play on the second floor where there's no AC, just a fan. We used to play cricket, and we used to be enjoying it to the max. We used to just love just jumping around, playing cricket, having fun. And then obviously the cartoons were amazing. And I feel, this is my personal view, I think there's been a conspiracy, obviously, among the media, the Disneys and the big corporations. They phased out cartoons. So there was a time I remember clearly in 2012 around, where before that, the cartoons were awesome. From 10 a.m. you wake up on TV, you have Cartoon Network and Disney, you have Zack and Cody, you have Kim Possible, you have Eon Kid, you have Dragon Ball Z, you have Naruto, you have all these things. Now if you want to watch Naruto, which is in my opinion the best anime of all time in terms of the messages it tells people, because it's a good anime. It doesn't teach you anything bad. You learn so many good things, so much development. But yeah, from 11 to 7 a.m., if I was a kid that was lazy and I just watched cartoons, the overall impact on my body would be minimal on my mind. I wouldn't learn anything that was bad for me, and I wouldn't see or be exposed to anything bad for me. It was cartoons. After 2012, what I've done, and you can probably tell me how much you've seen cartoons since then, is cartoons ended. They brought Camp Lazlo and some dumb cartoons, and like I think there was a Chowder, and like some other cartoons like that were very bad.
They're all weird. They're not even
Exactly.
child friendly anymore. They just put in weird stuff in them. Like I was watching some cartoons, I don't remember, and they have like the weirdest messages. They show weird things. It's not even kid. It's like they're trying to force feed something into your head,
Exactly.
into the young minds, and it's just, and now we have like Netflix, which is like even worse. And all we have is now, even if you're a kid, everyone still has I know for sure there's not a house which doesn't have a Netflix account. Like
True.
we tried so hard not to get one, but we ended up getting one after all.
Exactly.
And Netflix isn't good.
And we live in a household where our father banned cricket just because they started spot fixing cricket. So we didn't have any sport channels. If we wanted to watch sports, we get private streaming services on our own devices. But in the house, he was so fed up with the corruption in the sports. So imagine the corruption. If he, like, obviously he knows now. All of us know, and there's no avoiding it. The amount of corruption that's there online, exposed, we're bombarded with every day. It's unreal. YouTube, in the beginning, even in the beginning, it wasn't something that was great. It was the first YouTuber I ever watched was Niga Higa. It was a Hawaiian guy in the U.S. making just funny videos, and he
still makes videos, but they're not the same.
He had some friends, D-Trix and some other guy, and they used to dance and make videos. That was innocent enough. But now it's just, and I feel like, look, there's a reason why everything happens. I feel like, personally, there's an agenda behind everything. And the direction that YouTube has gone in, the things, you have certain types of things. And obviously, okay, this is for YouTube, is that there are plenty of good things out there. And on your recommended feed, for example, on Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok even, you only recommended things that you follow and that you see, for example. However, when you get to the site for a young mind, it's too much power, it's too much exposure, it's too much to control. Because you need a disciplining power, you need a parent to control someone, right?
It's like a whole world open up for you. Like you go on YouTube, and then on your front page there's like bombarded with random videos, and you're like, okay, I'll check this one out. I'll check this one. You have too much freedom, and then YouTube, it's easy to get led away.
Exactly.
Like you go for like a math tutorial video, you're like, okay, I need to know algebra, and then on the side it's like watch Jake Paul skateboard over a mountain, and you're like, damn, okay, and then you click that, and then it's just a rabbit hole.
And one thing I have to tell you guys, before, the people who used to be famous, there were far less people who were famous, first of all. People didn't care about each other's business that much. People lived in their own families more. Especially when I was a kid, when the internet was being born. Obviously, YouTube changed everything. YouTube is the thing that changed it. Vlogs, family vlogs, these type of things. This whole culture. When I was a kid, the only places we learned things from was from each other when we go to school. When I remember the first music trend was, there's a song by Soulja Boy, and they did a dance. And that dance was viral in school, and I had no idea what it was. How did they find out? Because it was the first thing on YouTube that came. When you click YouTube and music comes up and Soulja Boy comes up and he's doing some roly-poly dance on YouTube. But now the whole human experience is, I wake up, I open my phone, I do this and my sisters do this, and a 5-year-old kid will do this. Before, a 5-year-old kid wasn't affected like this. Open his phone, open TikTok, and see people moving their arms and legs around randomly, and then he sees immoral acts, then he sees immoral speech, he sees people making fun of each other.
He continues, and then later on, as more and more he sees, and then he's like, okay, you know what, this getting lots of views, so how about I do it?
Exactly.
And then, I open my TikTok, and the first thing I see are 9-year-old Saudi boys, 5-year-old Saudi boys with their iPhone 11 Pro Maxes in the mirror, showing off their fit. Who taught you this? You're 5.
Exactly, that's very true. And I feel like a lot of people are trapped. And tell us about your experience, Anna. What's the thing that's you've noticed most that's different to like your upbringing compared to others, or would you say as a challenge for young people?
Okay, so one thing is that when you were about like when you were small, like in like grade 1, like you in like Canada, you used to watch like cartoons. But when me and Api we were small, we would like go on YouTube and watch like Roman Atwood or like Jake Paul, or when I was in like year 5, like grade 4, I we they would be like everybody in class used to be like, oh, do you see Rice Comes new video? Do you see Logan Paul? Do you see Jake Paul? Or like Team 10 or everything like that.
And before, because look, there was no YouTubers. These people are not, they're not guided themselves. They themselves are finding themselves. You go on YouTube nowadays, Logan Paul is now looking at Islam. He's making on his podcast videos that are on Islam. But look at the amount of people that he's misguided on the way. Look at the amount of people he's made mavericks who are looking for money everywhere. He's not even the worst of them. He's one of the tamest one now. But the rest of them, the whole YouTube crew.
But even if he did make one video on like Islam, okay, you did, but like, just you videoed a dead body in the forest. You did. I feel like whatever he does, he just does it for views. I don't think he's
Maybe,
like
yeah, that's exactly.
him and his brother.
That's the
both.
whole culture, exactly. That's another point, exactly. Because when you, everything is for fame now.
Yeah.
The morality is down the drain, and there's an agenda to remove morality. Because when you remove people's morality, you can get them to do anything. When you won't stand for anything, then you will fall for anything. So if people start to accept people going into the woods and filming obscene things and showing it to people, then people will become desensitized over time. People will go for a rush, more and more things. I saw a video where a kid put his head in a microwave and put cement in it, told his friend to put cement in it, and he said, I'm gonna weld my head to a block of a microwave. And he put a pipe so he could so he could breathe. But he didn't know that the cement expands. He would have died. The cement would have crushed him. His friend called the ambulance and they saved his life. Otherwise he would have died. And this is a popular YouTuber from England. He's not 10. He has like 2 million subscribers. He has a fair few.
The more dangerous the trick, the trend you're doing, the more dangerous it is, the more views it gets. If you land yourself to the hospital, bingo, jackpot, millions, billions of views. No one wants to see you fall off a bike these days. They want to see you literally like shoot yourself, and they'll be like, "Wow, he's so cool."
Exactly. So yeah, but obviously this has been culture. People. I think there are higher powers that are controlling our cultures over the years, our culture in general, and it's being exported. It's being moved out. Because before people, what I've been told is that I'm a millennial. The 80s kids before me, they used to watch MTV. There was a TV channel called MTV. They used to get all their music from there. They used to follow all the trends. That's why they used to wear baggy pants and with their bums out. And they used to have like caps on their head.
Snapbacks on like.
So blindly following people is another thing. What do you think there are any positives of this social media nowadays?
You can find things much easier. Like you just type one thing on YouTube and you get lots of results.
Yeah, there's always a silver lining, to be honest. Like, no matter how bad the thing is, you can always find something good with it. Like, it's easier to call someone. If like my brother is all the way in Pakistan, how do I reach him in like 2 seconds? It's because of this social media. Like, I call him up and and then 2 seconds, I can literally talk to anyone I want, whenever I want, no matter how far away they are. Whatever research, I go to school, I don't get anything, boom, you find the Indians on the thing doing it for free, teaching you, and you learn it even easier. Everything has a good thing, but then there's like, and then it goes to an extreme, and then there's like bad stuff. Yeah, they really are safe.
And I think your point is that there's lots of information now. And especially we've seen with the rise of the Jeffrey Epstein case, there is a strong reason why there's a lot of information. What does a lot of information do? It dilutes the truth, does it not?
Yeah.
It becomes misinformation. CNN, all these channels, they now have the power to dilute anything that comes out. Imagine if a news comes that someone important did something wrong. CNN could be, if any TV channel could be influenced to put out 100 videos on YouTube, and all the channels, all their friends, TV channels, Fox, CNN, all of them, they could put out a video on all of it, which is a 10-minute video of just piano music, a woman narrating in an Australian accent, and just random facts about an issue which you didn't need to know. However, if you go to Twitter, where people are being censored nowadays, you type a keyword and you get clear information about everything. Obviously, everything has to be analyzed. And my point of mentioning misinformation to you guys, to us, is the fact that we have to learn how to analyze things in our lives now. It's become more important than any time before. Because before, information was scarce. People used to read the newspaper one time a day. Now, anything happens, we know on our phones. Our phone lights up to tell us, and we can't avoid it. So what is our thing? We have to form a barrier in our brain. We have to have an analysis. Even if it's news or it's scandalous news that's happened, we have to know that we have to know the facts first, research different routes, different medias, alternative medias, and find the truth. And I think those people are the ones that are going to be able to make it out of this thing. So let's talk about quarantine, Let's talk about how our lives have been affected in the past 6 months or so. I'm a medical student in Bahrain. I live across the border from Saudi. So I was quite relieved when my dad called me straight after my last exam, formative exam, which is like a midterm. So he called me and he said, Sarosh, the border is being closed. You should come. You should get a flight back. So I said, okay, Baba, I'll check. I called my friends. They were all like, yeah, bro, we're leaving. There's 4 of us already. My man's got the Corolla already. I go downstairs. Everyone's packed their suitcases in the car. I have space for one hand carry. So I leave everything. I left my rotten sweet potatoes and onions on the shelf. I forgot those. Okay, I'm not that irresponsible, but I forgot to put them in the fridge. But anyways, I left them there and I left. 3 weeks later, I get a call from security that it's stinking up the hallway and he's gonna go into my room and remove it. I said, thank you so much. But I was saved, alhamdulillah. My brother Naufal decided late on him. He was in Canada. To Riyadh is a 20-hour flight. So he was hesitant in moving. And after much deliberation, we decided to send him to Pakistan, and then they banned flights altogether. So he's stuck in Pakistan.
Thank God he's in Pakistan right now and not stuck in Canada. Or else he'd be... Now, at least now he has Nani, Khala, Kashmo, next to him to food supply and everything, and he's not alone. Anyways, for me though, quarantine has been a ride because I'm a GCSE student and I didn't do my GCSEs this year because of COVID. So now they're just gonna take my mock results, which wasn't the best. So all we can do honestly is just pray. And everything now, quarantine's changed everything. This is the new normal. I haven't seen my friends in 7 months. The last time I saw them was for my own birthday, which was before things hit the roof. So they came over and everything. But everything's nice.
That's crazy. When I was a kid, I used to have dreams before exams that, the exam's cancelled.
And then it happened.
My exams weren't even cancelled because
Why is that?
they made it on GL, so we had to find a link, do it. They gave us a little timer in the corner, and we had to quickly do everything.
Because her exams are the school. The school gives them themselves. My exam was in London. If the British school closed, that means we won't have anything.
And the thing with me is, I'm the only one left of all my friends. All my friends are leaving. I didn't get to say bye or anything, and I'm the only one gonna be left, except for one more.
That's pretty sad, I guess. And that's what it's done. Even my friends, a lot of us are in Riyadh, but they're too scared. Some of them are in quarantine. Some of them are saying, no, my dad said don't leave. But let's face the reality, yeah. I know, okay, unfortunately, inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un, some of our people who we know have died because of these things. However, we don't know, we don't have a confirmation whether it was COVID specifically. because obviously there are lots of theories and stuff. And look, the latest thing that I read, obviously I don't. You can check the sources, check Google or check whatever yourself. But I read something that said that the latest research says that everybody is COVID positive, technically. So anybody, whoever they test, will be COVID
Like
positive.
everyone will go through COVID, but not some people will only like show symptoms and
Yeah.
go like.
Not as hard as some people who have died from it.
Yeah, but I think because someone who passed away, and they were diagnosed with pneumonia, but later on when they died, the cause of death was written as COVID. So
Yeah, they
what's going on there? And to be
We are being controlled.
hmm,
That's what it is.
there's a video online already of there's a guy, there's a not a he's a satellite mechanic, and he's opening up the 5G dishes to install them, right? And he's doing this while everybody else is in quarantine and curfew. And so he's opened up this machine, and he's taken a video on the top right of the metal plate that holds the machine. He's opened it, and it says COVID-19 on the 5G machine, on the 5G thing, and it's a viral video on Twitter now. And these things are obviously can't be avoided, man. I don't believe in coincidences like that.
Yeah.
So look,
Yeah, like they're just blaming the bat for no reason. Who knows? Maybe the bat wasn't even.
the
like,
Chinese
there.
virus.
Yeah, Chinese virus. This is who said at the beginning. Yeah, at the beginning I heard like they called it the Chinese virus, so China would like I don't know go down or something. They're having beef with someone.
Just Trump being racist.
That's why look, we can't trust anyone. Look, there's so many opinions, so much information. I trust more the information that people are trying to suppress now. If I see something that's censored from the people,
That's what
then you have to investigate that, because everything else is being controlled. You can know
And the
that.
thing is, even to find like important stuff on like social medias like Twitter and everything, and if you want to go there and like I'm gonna search like reliable sources, reliable things, everything you see, everything on the top, it's gonna be useless things like Lil Huddy says N-word, Charlie D'Amelio
That's the
doesn't know
news
how
of
to
the day.
and that's all you see, and you're like, dude, I don't.
Jada Smith.
And got into entanglement, and then it's like, are we cake? Like, get this out of here. Like, the whole Twitter is filled with these BS stuff, and then when you want to find real stuff, like, is COVID real, about Jeffrey Epstein and everything, and you want to, like, search, everything's like, Twitter's taken down everything. Why?
So, and look, yeah, that's true. That's so true. Because, look, our information, we're being fed, we're being distracted, we're being moved. So, I think, look, let me just break down, because we've discussed a lot of the bad things that are happening and, what's happening around us. Obviously, time progresses, and we have a belief system that dictates to us exactly what's going to happen step by step. And we're seeing it unfold in front of our eyes. There's a book by Dar es Salaam called The End of the World. And it has a lot of the signs which I read around 5 years back when I was starting my university life. And I read that book 5 years ago, and a lot of the signs I'd seen after that happened. For example, when Trump became president, there's a hadith that says the worst of people will become the most powerful. Yeah, and Modi later on. But he was the first one that started this trend. After that, Brazil got Bolsonaro. He's another fascist guy. Modi, Trump.
Guy ain't leaving anytime soon.
Yeah. So these people, they're the worst of society, and they come to power. So this sign I saw before. Before that, I used to wonder. I used to think, oh, Obama's a good guy. Oh, these people are nice. But now you've seen that the most powerful people are the worst. You see the most of the time. A lot of things are coming to fruition. However, what do we do personally? Stay positive. First thing my dad always says, Baba says, be positive. To me, it makes me even more, anxious, because
it triggers our mom. I was like,
triggers our mom, because I'm a medical student. It sounds like BP, like a doctor saying patient's blood pressure is
of
going.
course, if you're like triggered at someone, and then there's like this voice in like beep, and you're like.
But yeah, that's mad. And yeah, so for the younger kids, obviously, and all of us, it all goes together, because I've seen life before the internet, and to me, obviously, life seems better when you're grown up. Your youth seems better. When I was a child, I feel like I was so carefree. Now I have stress about a whole career I have to build. I have stress about a life I want to give everyone in my family. I have stress about like what I want to achieve. I want stress about making my parents proud as soon as possible. I have lots of different things you put on yourself
Yeah.
eventually, and society puts on you, and this media doesn't help
Yeah.
because they want you to do all this while you get a G-Wagon before you're 12 years old and you're wearing a Gucci belt for no reason. They want you to do these things, and if you're blind to rationality, to reason, and with no system, a belief system, and a thing that dictates your life, you won't have a purpose. You'll be flooded away into the trends of the earth, of what's going on. So yeah, number one thing, I think we have to find a purpose. In quarantine, I've been fortunate. I've had exams, so I've been able to put some work into something. You guys have been doing things. Zana's an artist. Imama's also studying for her exams, and there's lots of different things that you can do. Now I finished my exams. Alhamdulillah, today was the day I finished my exams. Now I decided today I'm going to continue this podcast and look at this amazing opportunity we had. I got to get my driving license. Got to get a car. Exciting times ahead. Make your goals and make them exciting. I think Zana, you should take up entrepreneurship in this time. What do you think? Because you're an artist. What's your plans for like quarantine 2020, the rest of it?
I'm not quite sure, but I did. I don't know. Not
Right now,
quite sure.
right now's the time to start business. Like quarantine,
Yeah.
everyone, even the most useless people, are finding something to make money, to like use their mindset.
Exactly. That's just making money, right? I would say Zana has a skill. She's an artist, and I think this could be her career, because she wants to be she wants to do graphics. She likes art. She likes handcrafts, painting. What do you think? What's your direction? What are your main things that you like?
I was thinking more of like selling like.
Forget selling. You have to have an idea first, right?
What do you
Yeah.
like to do?
I like to bake.
Bake. Oh, that's a good thing as well. See, there's so many things I mentioned. I forgot baking.
Yeah.
So tell us about what you like to bake. Why do you think? What's your special thing? What's your spark? What's your reason?
I'm not the best at making cookies, but I think I make pretty good brownies and cinnamon rolls.
I can back
So-
you up on that.
Thank you. And the thing is, if I do start a cinnamon rolls business, there's not many in Saudi Arabia, so I guess it would be good, because if someone wants to buy cinnamon rolls, the only thing they come across is Cinnabon, and then that's it. They're like, okay, Cinnabon.
Exactly, and you'd be making something that's more.
Cinnabon's
Yeah.
international, right?
You'd be making I think so.
It's
Yeah.
international.
I think you'd be making something more, I guess, homemade, right? And there's an obvious huge market for that. And look at us, we're in Saudi Arabia. There's a huge obesity problem. It's not without reason. People have been stuffing themselves with whatever they can find. And I'm telling you, advertising works. We've seen it the latest thing with our dad's YouTube channel. He's advertised. He spent around $1,000 on advertising, and he's
And he's like, what, 5 million subscribers?
no,
He's coming for Jake Paul, dude.
no. He went from zero.
No,
he had
he's almost up to
he had absolutely
He's going
zero
viral.
internet presence, right?
that. I remember that time he had like 45, and he was like, no, I'd like someone like, how can I hide my amount of subscribers? And now he's on like 3K.
He's on 4K almost now.
4K.
And he's still hitting them for some reason. I don't know.
He's still like, how do I hide my subscribers?
So yeah, find a purpose. What else would you guys recommend
His
people
YouTube
do?
is Sayyid Taj Online TV. Yeah.
No, it's
No,
not.
Sayyid Ahmed.
Sayyid Taj Ahmed.
Online TV.
How did you get that wrong? It's literally his
Sorry.
name.
What else do you guys recommend for like people in quarantine to do? Or
Be creative.
oh yeah, let me tell you about my friend in Nottingham. So my friend's in Nottingham. He's in a university. He's an accident and emergency doctor, ER doctor.
Okay.
You know what he tells me? He tells me out of the 100% of patients, 60% are one type and 40% are the other. Could you guess what types they are?
Suicide?
You're joking.
That's quite the accurate guess you got there.
I wonder how.
Really?
Yeah, I remember
How
you
many?
saying it. So 60, what was it, 60%? I don't remember.
It was 60%.
He didn't tell him.
No, he
No,
was
I think
talking to Baba.
I
and he
might
was
have,
like,
I
"Please
might have,
stop
yeah.
him."
So he was saying that 40% are legitimate COVID cases. The other 60% during this quarantine time are just people who are like having depression and suicide thoughts. And I can understand why. Because if, look, we're a family, we're so privileged. The reason I started this is because I'm in a very privileged position. During quarantine, our family still has a stable income. Our family still is thriving, alhamdulillah, glory be to God. And we're still living a life of privilege in a sizable house with family. People don't have family. The family system has been destroyed over the years. The amount of single mothers I came across in London, the amount of people I'd come across who didn't know their parents, who didn't have good relationship with their parents. I've come across even in medical school, which seems like the best of people in society, you know. Even these people come from backgrounds which are so troubled. I wanted to share some of the things that are in a household that is privileged or that is, alhamdulillah, protected. And I feel that family is one of those things. For family, you have to sacrifice.
Family, relationships, talking with someone. And the thing is, this quarantine, it triggers the depression inside of you.
When you're alone.
Like, when you're alone, tired, have nothing to do, and you're just like laying down, then you think, okay, yeah, I'm depressed.
Bro, when you're in family, when I was a kid or even now, I don't have time to think whether I'm depressed or not. It's the next thing after the next thing.
And the thing is, if you don't have anything to do, that's what I'm saying. If you're just like, if you have nothing on your mind, you're just like quarantined, you're just like in your room, I don't know, and listening to music or whatever, and then you're like, you know what, I'm depressed. Maybe I'm gonna kill myself the next day or something. And it's like, this quarantine especially, like as you said, your friend said, like rates, like suicide rates are like high, more than COVID itself, and that's like.
Yeah, but we're not depressed because we have lots of things to do. Like we wake up, we're doing breakfast, then we go.
Keep it closer to you.
Okay. Then we're doing something else. Then we go down for dinner. We like help mom if we need to.
Exactly.
She tells us to do something else. Then you guys.
Helping others,
Yeah.
family. Helping others is the reason we're here. Aside from praying and fulfilling our purpose to worship God, helping people is the only thing that makes people happy. Literally, you ask a rich man if he's happy or not. The only reason a rich man is ever happy is when he says that I'm helping people, that's why I'm happy. Or I'm able to. And the ones who are least charitable, they'll be like, oh, I was able to buy my family a good life. I was able to buy my family a nice house. I gave something to someone.
And, yeah, the thing is that whenever we're like sitting, Baba's like, oh, can you please go upstairs and bring this book, or can you help me?
Even though he hardly does that, he does everything himself.
Yeah, like if we don't get up within 3 seconds, he's like, no, sit down, I'm gonna go, and then he runs up the stairs and gets.
Joe, it's the funniest thing ever. I've seen it so many times. He's thought about asking something. He knows that we're gonna be so lazy and not gonna react.
I know.
He literally gets up and just does it.
He's like Zana, and then he goes, and then I feel so bad. I'm like, what the hell is he gonna say?
That is the most active guy in our family.
Literally.
Both our parents are
exactly.
like super active.
And that's the privilege.
And more than us. Like we give them water once and then they'll be like, okay, give me another glass. We'll be like, ugh, mama. Like.
And just look at the impact. Look, our lives have been impacted so positively. I'm a medical student. These guys are in one of the best schools in Riyadh. We live the place we live in, the life we're living, the happiness we have, not without a sacrifice. The sacrifice our father made. Now, I contrast it to the things I'd seen. I'd seen a single mother. I'd seen people who didn't know their parents. Look at the impact it's had, that thing that they've done. Look at the impact it's had on lives later on. So, yeah.
And you don't realize what you have until you see others. Like, because we're in such as you said, we're such in a privileged state. We go to school, we see Saudis flexing with their Apple Watch, MacBooks, phones, and alhamdulillah, we have those things as well. But when we see something better, like I once saw someone riding a Segway, and I came home and I was like, you know what, I want a Segway. But then when Baijan said when he goes outside to like UK, he says single mothers, children who haven't met their parents, children who don't have good relations, and then you realize you're like, okay, yeah. Like, instead of seeing people who are above us, maybe we should look below us.
Exactly. And That's divine wisdom right there. That's really the key. One of the keys, staying happy, helping each other. Is when there's a mindset. It depends on the mindset. You being depressed is a mindset as well. Someone who's alone can be depressed, and someone who's alone can be the most happy person in the world.
And someone with a group of people around him can also be depressed.
Exactly.
And
when you don't have God. When I was, bro, listen, my brother moved to Canada, which is even further. If I'm sure, because I noticed, I felt this as well. If he's true to himself, if he starts worshiping God, if he's praying 5 times a day, he is going to be the happiest kid in the world. I was living in London. I was doing a course. I had no idea I was doing a course. I used to go to lectures, come back. In the meantime, I used to hang around with my friends, and we were all Muslims, so we used to pray together, have fun together. But even so, I wasn't spending so much time with them. That was bad. I used to spend time alone, and I used to spend time worshiping because I wanted to. Yeah. Imagine being in that state. And alhamdulillah, from the age of 4, I remember in the solarium of our Canadian apartment, Baba used to take turns to teach me how to pray, and I used to be really and at that time I used to think it was torture, but they've been telling me to pray since I was born until I'm 23 now, 28. So I'm not 23. I'm 23 now, and they've been that's an inside joke, but they've been teaching us how to pray since then, and that time I felt the genuine connection. There's a sweetness of Iman. It's a literal sweetness. It's a literal sweetness. You start praying. One day you do sajda. You get back up, and you're in that zone when you have iman. There's something goes down your neck, and there's a taste in your mouth, and it's sweet. And it's not because you ate dessert. It's a sweetness.
It's not because Anna cooked you brownies.
Yeah.
That's not the reason.
I thought you were gonna be like some guys behind you, like
When I felt it is also when I went to Umrah. When I went to Umrah, there was a time, unfortunately, in quarantine, where even though we're in Riyadh, we can't travel to Umrah.
Well, right now we'd probably be there.
Mm-hmm. But 3, 4 years ago, 5 years ago maybe, we used to go Umrah. There was a year we went Umrah 3 times, alhamdulillah. So in that time, when you see the Kaaba, there's tingle goes through your spine. When you're doing tawaf, something goes down your spine when you're saying things.
You realize it. You don't just feel it. You feel it.
No, for me it's a physical feeling as well. I freeze up. I go I can feel it. I go
maybe we're not on that level yet.
No,
but inshallah, when
people have different ways of recognizing.
You were
things.
you feel something down your spine when you're doing tawaf, and I was like.
No, I feel happiness, just pure joy.
Yeah, pure joy.
There's this time in we went to Makkah in Mukarram, and it was Umrah time, and when it's after Fajr, when you say when the sun comes up slowly, and there's the cleaners are cleaning the floor, and it's all wet, and it's so beautiful, and there's people going around the sajda, and then you're just there doing dua and everything, and you just feel happy. Because right now it's in the moment. There's nothing to worry about. You don't have to go back. You don't think of school. You don't have to think about random toxic people. You don't think about problems. You're just there, and you're just talking straight face to face to God, and that's it. Also, back on the topic about depression and thing, as you said, no matter how many people you have, you can have a group of 20 friends around you, and you'd still feel depressed. And then you could have no people, and you'd be happy, and you'd be lonely, but you'd be happy. And the thing is, you could also it's not just the fact that you're tired and have nothing to do and then you feel depressed. It's you could be busy. You could go to work, come back to work, have a wife, have children, have someone to feed, everything. You could do everything, but still come back to bed lonely and still have this darkness. You could still feel that. I'm not talking I've been through it, but I know it's a thing.
Can I tell you what my feeling is? Obviously, look, I'm in medicine, and obviously this field is developing. We're learning more about mental health, and these things are there's different ways of this happening to the body, to the mind. I think personally, every mental illness, to some extent, most of them, a lot of them, many of them, have spirituality as a key missing ingredient to the people when they have these mental illnesses. There are many mental illnesses who spiritual people also can have.
Yeah.
However, a lot of the cases like depression, loneliness, these things, psychosis, Other conditions that are more complex, that obviously you have to test everything first. Nothing is followed blindly in in our belief system. Obviously, you have to have proof for everything, or be told divinely. Because why do we believe in divine revelation, and why do we believe it blindly? Because first we establish that it's true. When you establish that something is true, you believe in blindly in everything that they say. Because even if they cannot see, if we're told that the moon's light is borrowed light, it's reflected light. So people didn't know that. Scientists were saying that the moon had its own light. The moon wasn't reflecting light. But we believe it blindly, and we know it's correct. Now we can prove it's correct as well. But there may be some things that you may not be able to prove correct or rationalize, but you have to believe. Because your belief system initiated on the fact that there has to be a creator. And there's research, and we know inside that I have a feeling that there has to be a creator. Because I can't live without it. It's a fundamental part of being.
And when you feel lonely and sad and depressed and you have no one around you, the first thing you think is like, my creator, like God. If there is God, then who do I believe in this rough time? Who? And people who have that like lack of spirituality, who are like whatever atheist or whatever, you're gonna be like, okay, I have literally no one to turn to. Let me just like end it. But then if you have good spiritual, if you're like Muslim and you're like belief, or if you're Christian and you like believe in Jesus or whatever they believe in, and if they truly believe in it, then they'll be like, maybe they'll find it as like a way to not end it. They'll be like, okay, fine, this is a purpose, this is a way. People who don't have any spirituality, anything, if they don't believe in anything, usually, I don't know if this is like scientifically proven or anything, but atheists are probably more likely to commit suicide, right?
I don't know if that is, but my point of bringing science into it was, what has been research done into is the fact that when kids are born, they've done experiments with kids that when they grow up, they grow up believing in a creator. They grow up believing without being told anything. They grow up knowing that there's someone in control. So that's enough. That's enough of everything for me. No need to go into anything else after that, if that's true. But yeah, establishing truth is very important. So yeah, we're coming towards the end of this podcast. I just wanted to give a few more, just round up what you need to have in these times during quarantine. Obviously, we'll continue if we have Imam and Zana later on in the podcast about their lives and what they've seen. But I'll just finalize by saying, look, I think that you need to find a purpose. You need to have a belief system. And in these times, you need to know how to analyze things and critique facts. When you see something, don't believe it. And the purpose is your driving. It's your driving force. It'll guide you. So yeah, thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll catch you later. We've got very exciting guests next episode as well, and we'll be talking about a lot of the common things that we have. So yeah, tune in for episode 6. Until then, take care.